Hello guys, welcome back to John's Workshop, and in this video we are going to be doing workshop blether number 3. They seem to be going down fairly well, the blethers, so in this particular one we're going to be just sort of updating on projects. And I went mad with the pen. I don't know who that guy is, but he's obviously announcing workshop blether number 3 for me. So first and foremost, and the first thing I need to do, for those that have been watching, that's the carriage stop complete. Well, complete for now. So that's another job done that I've been meaning to do. And in this blether video, we'll do a bit about sort of workshop update. I'm going to do a bit of a brainstorm of sort of upcoming projects and things like that. And also, we're going to attack the oil seal on the lathe as part of the blether, and I won't film all of it, but I'll just film bits of it and put that into the blether video, and hopefully it might help somebody else who's got a Harrison M300 with the same issue. And we'll see how we get on with that, and see if my sort of steering gaiter idea, well, it's not my idea, I've shamelessly stolen it from another guy on YouTube. And what I will do, to be fair to the guy whose idea it was, I'll look his video back out and I'll either talk about it during the video at some point, or I'll put it in the video description so that you can go and view him doing the same sort of thing. So so that's what we're going to be doing today. So first and foremost, we've got some items that have arrived. So I'm going to clear the bench. We'll put the items up on the bench and we'll go through some stuff that's come into the workshop, and then we'll get on with the oil seal on the lathe, and we'll do a bit of a workshop update at some point during the video. Okay guys, so we've got a couple of parcels that have come. What I've been doing lately is just sort of scouring eBay, and just really just putting some silly bids on things, and once in a while you get lucky. And you get, well, I think it's lucky, we'll find out when we get the boxes open. I kind of think I know what's in both of them. This one's a bit of a lucky dip, so I put a bid on this. It was a selection of tooling. There's nothing, I don't think there's anything fantastic in here, to be honest, and I put a bid of 99 pence on, and I won the auction at 99 pence, plus I think £3 postage or £2 postage or something. So this box here stands me at, you know, £3 at the most. So we'll get into this, and I forget what was actually in the auction, if I'm honest. I know one of the items was a drill, and I thought, well, the drill itself is worth a couple of quid, so it doesn't matter what the rest of it is. To be fair, the rest of it did look a bit like I might not be able to do anything with it. But what I thought is, with the rest of it, I thought, well, you know, as I've said before, I'm planning to get a tool and cutter grinder at some point. If it's high-speed steel, even if it's knackered, we'll stick it in a box somewhere, and when I get a tool and cutter grinder, it's useful stock that I can turn into something hopefully more useful. So we'll just have a look. It's been well packaged, certainly. We'll have a look and see what we've got. Hopefully I'll be pleasantly surprised for my 99 pence. If I can get into the thing. To be fair, the guy's gone to town with the packaging for 99p. I really wasn't expecting that, if I'm honest. So we'll go for this bit first, because this is the bit that I saw that I thought, well, that's worth 99p or more on its own. So we've got there 1.1/16" diameter dormer drill that's been turned down, so it's got a parallel shank on it. Yeah, that's worth 99p of anybody's money, I'd suggest. I'm sure we'll be able to use that for something at some point. So happy now, I know I've got my money's worth out of this package. So everything else following on from that is a freebie as far as I'm concerned. So let's have a look what was in. Well, I have no idea what that is. I've never seen anything like that in my life, in all my years of engineering. I don't think I've ever seen anything that looks quite like that. It looks like a hybrid between a small end mill and a reamer. I have no idea what that is. I think it's a reamer of some description. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, a totally blunt end mill. And I'm not, again, I think that was a slot drill at some point many years ago. I think that would make a decent spot drill, potentially. Trying to see the value in this, guys. You need to work with me on this one. That's an interesting thing. I think that's probably from woodworking of some description. Kind of a router bit type affair, potentially. I think some of these items will be finding their way into the bin, but this one won't. This one could be handy. It's in need of some it's in need of some care and attention, but there's a countersink there that's, yeah, it needs a bit of a regrind, but I could make something with that, I guess. And the plan here being, when I get my tool and cutter grinder, what I was thinking about, if I've got some dog-eared old things that I'm really not bothered about, and I want to, you know, practice grinding a countersink up or an end mill or whatever, then I've got some things to have a go with. So that is it looks like it's been hand ground on the ball at the front, but high speed steel, 3 flute end mill. Again, not the sharpest thing in the world, but again, something I could practice with the tool and cutter grinder on, refresh the edges, and I'm sure that could be made useful again. So I'm thinking I've got my 99 pence worth out of this, if I'm honest. I've seen something like this before. That's like a homemade, very shallow angle chamfer tool, single flute. It's been obviously made out of it looks like it's been made out of a tap, actually. But again, yeah, I don't know, that one might be going in the bin. Yeah, I don't know what that is. If anybody knows what that one is, please put it in the comments. I'm sure somebody had something in mind when they adapted that from its original reamer status. I don't know what it is. It's worth 99p just for the laugh, I'll be honest. And last but not least, oh, the bigger brother. This is a 2 flute one of a thing, whatever it is. I think these have probably been used in a router bit or something. For somebody spent quite a bit of time on a grinding wheel with that. It's a shame it's blunt, but anyway. Yeah, I'm really not sure what that one is either, or what I'm going to do with it, for that matter. I think I might make a centre punch or something out of that, or I don't know, we'll see. So anyway, 99p for that more than covers my outlay. So happy with that one. And it's, you know, it's a bit, you'd spend 99p on a lottery ticket and get nothing back, so, you know, look at all that entertainment I've just had there for 99p. Right, on with the next. Now I know what's in this one. Now I paid a bit more for this, I've got to be honest. This wasn't a 99p purchase. I think I finished up paying about £25 for this. And the guy put it on like a 9-day auction or something. But he put a buy it now. He got a buy it now price, I think, or best offer. So I made him an offer, and he said, yeah, not worth it because of the postage. It was a silly offer, to be fair. And I looked at it all again, and I thought, you know what? I'm just gonna pay the ticket price for that, because everything that's in here is all stuff that I don't have. And again, I think most of it's probably going to be blunt, but with the thought in mind that I'm going to one day have a tool and cutter grinder, I thought I'd take a punt for, I think it was £26 something plus postage, so it's about £30 all in. So there's a fly cutter there, a small fly cutter that would take a piece of high-speed steel. It's got both grub screws in it, so that's, you know, that's usable in its current state. Quite a nice. It's obviously been homemade. I do like tools that have been, somebody's put time and effort into and probably got a lot of years of use out of. I think there's just something far more, I don't know, far more sort of real with something like that than there is buying some cheap Chinese rubbish off the internet. So we've got a fly cutter. Oh, that's nice. That's a radius cutter for putting external rads on, and that looks to be really sharp. So, you know, to buy, I don't, is there a maker's name on this? Format? I've never heard of them, but yeah, that's you'd pay £3 or £4 for that, maybe, for even for a cheap sort of Asian import one, you'd pay £3 or £4 or £5. So that's going to be useful. I like that. Jones and Shipman small tools. So I've got a little tool index for stuff to, I don't know whether that's for stuff that's in the box that we've yet to find. Not sure. Does that fit in it? Oh, it does. I wonder if there's a set of these radius cutters. To be honest, it's so long since I've put the bid on, I can't really remember what was in the box. We've got another homemade fly cutter with a piece of high-speed steel in it, which again, you could use that probably now. It's got the grub screw holding it in place. So again, homemade, probably, I don't know, 50, 60 years old maybe, or something, I don't know. Somebody's put some time and effort into making that. Looks like these were fitting into a Clarkson style collet, you know, collet holder with the threads on the back, an auto lock style. Oh, look, another radius cutter. Format again. I think I've bought myself a set of radius cutters. This is shaping up to be quite good. A carbide tipped boring bar for a boring head for the mill. Now I don't have a boring head yet, and it's something that's on the to get list. So when I do get one, I've already got a nice boring bar to go in it. Assuming that the obviously the whole, you know, the shank size is the right diameter, but we can modify that. We can either sleeve it or take this diameter down, I guess, if we need to. So that's good. Another fly cutter with a piece of probably silver steel or something in there, ready to be ground up. So that looks like it's probably been made, and well, it has been used. It's got screw marks on where it's been clamped into like a side lock holder at some point. But that's 3 fly cutters in the box. What else have we got? Interesting. That's very interesting. I've never come across that before. That's copper. Well, I've never seen anything like that in all my years. We've got a copper Morse taper. If anybody else has ever seen a copper Morse taper, please let me know, because I've never seen one before. That's a first. And inside, well, as part of that, I don't know whether that's fitted into there or whether that's, I don't really know what that is, to be honest, whether that's just whether that's copper plate, it must have a copper plate on. I can see a bit of steel through, there's like a wear hole in there, so that's been copper plated and probably returned or something. So somebody's put some time and effort into that. It's like a counterbore tool, 3 flute, interesting. Tag, that sounds German to me. 10mm long series high speed steel slot drill. It'll cut, you know, it feels reasonably sharp, does that. And then these are the bits that I saw that I thought this is what I've really paid for. So there's a few of these in the box. They're kind of wood rough cutters, for want of a better word. They're only 2 flute, all of them, but they're carbide tipped. And I thought these would be really useful. And again, I've got no way of grinding these at the minute. They actually look in very good condition. There's no chips on the carbide. They look sharp. So there's a few of these in here, and I thought they're going to be really useful, especially being carbide tipped, because they'll last, you know, they'll last a good bit. When I get my tool and cutter grinder, I can grind, you know, the thickness of this in the set down to sort of standard sizes or whatever I want. So that's really what I saw that took my fancy in this parcel, if I'm honest. So there's that one. There's another one there, slightly bigger, and again these are probably for woodwork, I'm guessing. Maybe not. G&B tools, it says. G&B. I'm trying to think of a machine tool with G&B on it. I was thinking Webster, Bennett and Giddings and Lewis. I can't think of anything G&B from a metal engineering perspective. That, as I say, they're probably from wood. This will give you a dovetail slot. Again, 2 flutes in good condition. A nice thin one. Again, 2 flutes, carbide tipped, probably 2.5mm thick or something like that. Again, I think these are going to come in really useful. And another one with like a dovetail shape almost, or wedge shape. Again, 2 flutes, carbide tipped, in good condition. So there's a few of those. There's a really big one with big carbide inserts on it. I'm not so sure that would go particularly well in the mill, if I'm honest, but there's options with it. We have a face mill, carbide insert face mill. I've never seen inserts like that in all my years, so I've no idea what sort of inserts these are. I don't know if I'll be able to get some codes off this, but yeah, strange looking inserts, but they all look pretty good. So 3 flute sort of face mill. I don't know if there's a make on that. Grant is on the holder. Can't see anything on the actual body of the mill itself. But so face mill, 4 flute M mill, again high speed steel, feels quite sharp. I saw this and I thought this looks nice. It doesn't look like it's been used at all, this, and it didn't on the photograph. So this is a 16mm high speed steel ripper M mill. That feels brand new to me. Maker's tag, never heard of it, don't know, could be, don't know, Eastern European, maybe German, don't know, but that's a useful bit of kit. Nice bit of high-speed steel for turning, or to go in a fly cutter or whatever. It looks to be 3/8 of an inch square, something like that. Proper high-speed steel woodruff cutter, probably about inch diameter, 1/4 inch thick maybe. Yeah, like a interesting, a slitting saw almost, but with a radius form on the teeth, on a shank. Another one of the sort of woodruff style 2-flute cutters, carbide tipped. Another 2-flute carbide tipped thing. I don't know about that, whether we'll be doing anything with that. Well, there we go, G&B Tools, Farnborough. That's what the G&B stood for. So what have we got in this one? Yeah, another sort of dovetail shape carbide tipped cutter. I think a lot of these are wood tools, I think. Not really sure, I might be wrong there. And this is nice. So this is you see the length of this. This is probably 8 inches long, something like that, 9 inches long, and it's got a tiny high-speed steel boring bar in the end of it, to be used as like a boring bar or whatever. Yeah, that's nice. You could use that almost for line boring if you've got a long bore to do in a shaft or something. So that's interesting. There's no centres in the end of it, mind you, so you wouldn't be able to run it between centres particularly, but it wouldn't be too difficult to put those in. So that's again, that's an interesting one. And last but not least, Marwin. It says Marwin on the box. That's carbide. That's carbide right the way down, brazed on, 2-flute slot drill, about 20mm diameter is what it says on the shank. So I don't know, guys, what do you reckon? All of that lot, ignore that first parcel, all of that lot out of the second parcel for 30 quid including the postage. Let me know in the comments, because I think that's well good value for money, if I'm honest. So it just shows a bit of eBay surfing. Try your luck now and again, and you can grab a bargain. I think there's some really useful stuff in there that's going to come in handy. I think a lot of it's going to need a bit of work when I get tool and cutter grind or whatever to get it as I need it, but there's a lot of potential in there in terms of tooling, and it's all good quality stuff in that second box. There's no cheap nasty stuff in there. So yeah, let me know in the comments. Okay, without further ado, we will go on to the lathe, and we'll have a crack at this oil seal and see if we can sort that out. Right then, guys, let's get stuck into this carriage oil seal on the lathe. So we'll make a start. So everything on this front panel here needs to come off like that. That's got that off, I suppose. Not in quite the fashion I was hoping. Let's see if we can rescue that. Take the things off that we can take off one by one, so we'll get some punches and don't think that's going to work. Let's try a different one. that's a good fit. That was always going to happen, wasn't it? Okay, that's got that off. Hand wheel next. Okay. Right. Next job is the is this traverse lever. Now I've got no idea. There's a. I don't know if you guys can see that. There's a. You can't. Let me just move the camera. So there's an aluminium end piece on here, which I'm presuming unscrews because there's no like grub screws or anything like that holding it on. But I need to get that aluminium end piece off this bar to allow me to take this front plate off. And at the minute I've got no idea how we're going to do that, so I'm going to go and collect some tools together, and we'll because what I don't want to do is mar this up. It's already got some marks on it, obviously, where I would imagine somebody's had a go at this in the past, because these oil seals go fairly regularly. Yeah, I'll have a look, get some tools together, and we'll work out how we're going to attack this. Alright guys, we've eventually managed to get this loose, and it's not been ideal. So what I've used, I've got a G-clamp on the shaft itself, and I've basically used a set of grips and some emery cloth back to front, so they're with the abrasive side towards the jaws, and then basically wrapped around the outside of the piece that I want to undo. So that's how I managed to do it. It's taken a while to get to that point, but anyway, we're at that point, and it has got some damage on it, this from before and from unfortunately what I've just done. It's not a massive amount, so we'll clean that up before we refit it. There's just a couple of marks. I mean, some of those are from before anyway. You can see by the colour that's in there, they've been in there a long time, some of those. So we'll tidy that up before we refit it. So that's got us past the difficult bit. So we'll just remove this clamp now. So the next job now is all these tiny screws to get the front plate off. And I guarantee I'm probably going to end up losing some of these. They're so small. Should have really cleaned the lathe tray out first before I did this, but anyway. I think that's it. Hopefully that now slides off. So, here's the offending article. So we've got a spring that sits kind of inside the rubber boot from this front bit, and I'm supposing that's to stop it collapsing. And I would imagine that's half the. This is just bad design. This is a metal spring with sharp edges up against a rubber seal. There's only one way that's going to finish up. Yeah, it's not the best design in the world. This is a really good machine, this Harrison, but as with all things that are so complex, there'll always be some weak point in the design somewhere, and I think that's obviously it for this. So, next job then is these screws. Now interestingly, the way they've come off and the paint's broken, around the edges, I would suggest that either the lathe's been repainted at some time and this hasn't been done since then, or this is from factory, which means this seal's probably, I don't know, I've not really dated this machine yet. I think it's sort of mid-90s, 1990s, so we're probably talking 15 years, something like that. So that's got those out. No idea how this thing comes out now. It's probably going to gush oil everywhere when I get it out. Yeah, I don't know. I'll have a bit of a play about. I'll bring you back when I've sorted out how that comes apart. Alright, I've managed to break the, it was just paint holding it, I think. I've jiggled and jiggled about and we've broken the seal, so let's extract this. I want to try and get all of this rubber out if I can, not leave any in the gearbox, but oh yes, that's gone well. So there you go, that's the offending article. So it's fairly clear to see why that wasn't sealing the oil into the gearbox. There's not very much left of that, is there? So that's good. That's got us stripped down. I'm trying to save that as much as I can to so I can kind of try and make the new one. It's going to be hard to make the new one as close to that as possible, but you know what I mean. We'll try and get an idea from that, you know, how big the seal actually was, top to bottom, if you like. Okay, good. That's that stripped down. So I'm just going to give all this a clean up now before I start thinking about refitting the new one. So I'm just going to do that off camera. I'm just going to wipe it all down, just make sure there's no bits of swarf or anything like that. Clean this bore out and the seating face, the shaft, and just make sure there's nothing, you know, nothing in there, no remains of that rubber that I can see. Right guys, I've got out the steering gaiter, one of the ones out of the packet. It's really quite tough, which is what you'd expect if you think what it's got to do in service on a car. If I can get a start. And what I'm going to do is trim that back to, there's kind of, again, there's two steps on this. There's that, you know, where this step is, there's a bigger one and a smaller one. We'll start with the bigger one and see how that's going to fit. I think I'm going to have to get rid of that bigger one, to be honest. I'm going to have to go for the smaller one. In fact, I'm just going to go straight for that. Yeah, this isn't easy. I'll trim that up off camera. I'll probably do that with a knife on the bench or something where I've got a bit more control, and then I'll bring you back once I've done that. Okay, I've got that trimmed up now. This is the ring that holds it in place, and it's got like a, well, best I can describe it, it feels like Evo stick glue as sort of a gasket, and there's an area where that's missing. So what we're going to do is make sure that's the top hole when we refit it, because the oil level really only ever gets, if the sight glass is here on the side, and so the oil level really only ever gets to about this kind of level. so the oil's never at the top other than what's splashing around. So I think what I'm going to do, and I've made a couple of marks with a pencil, because this is slightly smaller than I was hoping it was going to be, I'm going to basically offset it towards the bottom, so it's like this. So I've got clearance on that top screw hole for the screw to pass straight through, and then at the bottom where it really matters, I've got more engagement trapping this rubber piece in position, because that's where it really needs to seal at the bottom. That's where the oil's going to be. So I've marked two just pencil marks where the holes are, and I'm just going to nibble those out with the standing knife. Probably just put two little V's in or something, just to give room for the screws, clearance for the screws to go through at that position, and then I think that will do us. Okay, well you can see there I've just nibbled out the rubber for those bottom two screw holes, and the top one's in clearance anyway, so I think we're ready to have a go at this and see whether it fits. So we'll just put that back on, and this is going to be the hard bit, because keeping the rubber in the right place is not going to be easy, I don't think. Yeah, that's bottoming out. I think we're going to need to lose a piece of this this end. I'm just going to nibble that, maybe half of that away. I want to keep a bit there because obviously to seal around the shaft. I'm just going to lose a little bit of that and just see if it gives me a bit more clearance. I'll bring you back when I've done that. Okay, so we've shortened that front end now. We'll just try and fit that again and see whether that's any better. What I'm going to do is just roughly put the top one in, I think. But not to nip it. Right, well, here's the big test. Well, before we put anything else back on, I'm just going to pop this, the top nut out, and we'll just drop a bit more oil in. And we'll leave it for a bit and just see if anything leaks out. But if it doesn't, then that's a £4 or £5 repair that would have cost, I think it's £45 plus VAT, I think, if you buy the proper seal from Harrison. I'm not going to put this spring back in. I don't think it doesn't warrant it with that gaiter. It's very strong. It's not going to go anywhere, and I think having that in there, I don't know whether it does anything or not, to be honest. I don't know whether it adds any I think the purpose of that is just to stop the rubber gaiter popping back out. I don't know what other function that would serve. It certainly doesn't do anything in terms of the engage or disengage of the traverse, I don't think. So that's probably not going to go back in. Right, well there we go. I've filled it up, guys, up to the bang on the line on the oil level. In fact, I went just slightly over, and I've operated the pump a couple of times to pump some oil through the slideways just to get it down to the level, and we've given it 10 minutes, something like that. I'll just move you around the front now. So there you go, after 10 minutes that's as dry as it was before we put the oil in. So I think we'll call that a success. So what I need to do now is put all the bits and pieces back on the front, which is a few minutes job. I'll do that, don't need to film it, it's just the reverse of me taking it apart, which you saw. So I'll put all that back together and I'll bring you back at the end. But hopefully now that's a cheap repair, as opposed to spending a lot of money on a pucker seal from Harrison. I mean, obviously the true test of, will be time as we go on with this, but certainly for now it looks like it's fixed the oil leak, so that's good. I'll bring you back in a few minutes when we've got everything put back together. Well, there we go guys, that's everything all back together, all operating as it should. Traverse on, off, no oil leaks, half nut engage and disengage, no problem. So that's everything back together as it should be. Happy with that. Hopefully that's going to hold up. Worst case scenario is if it lasts a couple of years for a couple of quid. I've got another one of these in the box that came, so I can make another one, no problem at all. What I would do is if I did have to order any more, I mean I'm hoping that that'll last for ages, but if I did have to order any more, now I've realised what I should have done was stripped all of this down first before I ordered them, so I could have a look on some of these. When you buy them, have got the sizes and the diameters stated. What would have been better is if I'd have got one a slightly smaller diameter, where I could have gone to this kind of outer face at the right diameter and used that as a proper gasket, if you like, behind the sort of retaining ring. But anyway, I think we're good. That's been another 30 minutes and it's still dry. There's no oil coming out of there, so chuff for that. Right, I'll bring you back in a moment and we'll just do a bit of sort of round the workshop stuff and sort of future projects, things like that, to kind of wrap this workshop blether up. Alright guys, I've just brainstormed a few future projects up on the whiteboard there, and I'm not sure when they're going to come to fruition, well, some of them at least. So the whiteboard move, I've spoken about that before, that just needs to happen. I'm not going to film that, I'm just going to move it from where it is now over to the other side of the garage, and I've already spoken about that. And I'll just show you the update when it's complete. Rotary table adapter, that's a customer job, hence the C. So one of my subscribers has asked me if I'll do a bit of a job for him. He's got a rotary table and he needs to fit a chuck to it, and it's an adapter plate to go between the rotary table and the back of the chuck. So that is on its way to me at the minute, or certainly the blank material's on its way to me at the minute. So that's probably going to be the next job that we film and put out as episodes. Tool holder accessories, that's been on there for a while. That's largely just the screws that I need to make for the Dixon cartridges. Rotary table strip, now that's an interesting one. I've currently got a bid live on eBay as we stand today. I don't know whether I'm going to get that or not, but I really need that rotary table, well, potentially need that rotary table to help with the rotary table adapter job. It's not necessary, and I'll talk more about that when I get to it, but the rotary table that I've got a bid on eBay, it's one of those that you can use at like flat or 90 degrees, so it will also double up as an indexer, an indexing table as well as a rotary table. Obviously I'd need to make some indexing plates up for that, which will be another interesting job. So rotary table strip, sorry, going back to that, if it turns up, that will be a job it's quite an old one, and it will need to be stripped, cleaned, sorted out if it needs it, and rebuilt. So that'll be one of those. Mill stand, I'm learning increasingly, and I've had quite a few nice comments, from people saying the mill seems to be much better since I did the head strip down, which it does. I'm quite pleased with it. However, it's glaringly apparent that the weakest point of that mill that I've got is the stand that it sits on. Grinding, heat treat, fab area. Right, that's an interesting one. So, in fact, yeah, the bottom one's racking and shelving. I'll just talk that in a minute as well. So grinding, heat treat and fab area, I'm just going to zoom out a little bit. So this area of the workshop here, where the whiteboard is, and that's why I want to move the whiteboard, this is where I've got my grinder. It's where I've got my rough vise that I do, sort of rough work in, if that's what you want to call it, sort of sawing, filing, that kind of thing. What I want to do is get some steel plate, and I'm going to plate this back wall somehow with the steel plate. Not sure how high yet. Obviously I need to plate on top of the wires, which will mean I need to make some spaces, but no hardship. I'm also going to plate this bench, and again, I don't know how far over, probably just to the join where it joins the main bench potentially. So I've got a steel top bench with a steel back, and I might even put a side wall this side and a side wall this side to create almost an enclosure. And the reason I want to do that is to try and contain dust, mess. I also want to put I want to get myself some fire bricks, in case I want to do any heat treatment, that kind of thing. So to have steel plated wall behind to stop the wood burning, if I've got a flame in there or anything like that, that's kind of the idea. So don't know what it's going to look like yet, other than it's going to live in this area somewhere. If I've got the bench top plated as well, that will make an ideal welding area as well for doing any welding in the future. So that's the kind of thing, and that's why I want to move the whiteboard out of here. It suffers at the moment from, when I'm using this grinder, all the dust and muck comes out the back all over the whiteboard, so it's in the wrong place. So that's that, and then the last one, racking and shelving. I want to put some more racking up around the milling machine for my collets and my fly cutters and things like that, just to try and get them out of my drawer set, because they take up quite a lot of room. So I'm going to see if I can get some racking and shelving made. I'm on Orange Guinness today, guys. Cheers, driving tomorrow. So that's kind of the end of this episode. I think I've been through all the kind of things that I wanted to go through, and again, the whole idea of these episodes are something other than a project, something other than machining, just to give you an idea of what's going on in the background, really. And I hope you're finding that useful. I'm pleased with the lathe. I'm pleased we've got the lathe oil leak fixed, so that's good. I'm getting ready for the rotary table adapter, so the material's on its way to me. Hopefully that'll be coming this week, so that'll be the next possibly project that you see after we've finished off the carriage stop. I've got all the carriage stop footage done now, it's complete. I'm just waiting to finish off editing that and put that final video up. So I think that's it for this video. Thank you for watching, as always. Thank you for subscribing, my existing subscribers and new ones. I've had a bit of a burst of activity in the last 2 or 3 days, probably gone up about 12 or 15 subscribers, which is quite, it's very strange how it works. It tends to peak and trough. Normally around the weekends you get a bit more activity, which kind of makes sense with people, off work and looking on the internet. So if there are other people out there with channels similar to this that have stickers, that want to do a sticker swap, obviously you've seen some on the board behind me. More than happy to do that, especially anybody in sort of America. And the reason I'm saying that is because when I look at my YouTube analytics, for whatever reason I'm struggling to get sort of noticed or seen in America, and I don't know why. It may be that the content doesn't suit that audience, or it may just be that I've kind of not made it in deep enough into that kind of market. So if there are any channels out there and you want to do any sort of sticker swaps, that kind of thing, promotions, then I'd more than welcome that, just to try and get me a bit more coverage. And the more people there are, the more interest there is, the more comments there are, and the better the channel gets for everybody as a result. So I was looking back at some of my earlier videos, and I've had quite a lot of feedback from all of you guys saying maybe think about doing this and that, and you'll have hopefully noticed my recent videos have all got speeds, feeds, depths of cut, all that kind of thing, so they were all good comments. I'm trying to cut out a lot of the waffling that I do. I'll reserve that for the Blether videos like this one, and just keep it based purely on the machining. I will keep always the bit that I do up front, which is this is what we're going to make and this is how we're going to make it piece, just so that I keep you all up to date with how we're doing it. So yeah, anything along those lines, please let me know, and I've got a pile of stickers that I can send out, not a problem. So as I said, thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, I hope you're all enjoying it, and we will catch you all very soon on another video when we're finishing off the carriage stop on the Harrison lathe.